What's going on, everybody? It's the Hook Cam back again with another film breakdown, kind of. This one's going to be more of an opinion piece about where I think the Patriots are going with their re-signing of Cam Newton. Now, if you haven't heard the news, Cam Newton re-signed a one-year, $6 million deal with the New England Patriots. Don't get distracted by the $14 million. It is a very heavily incentivized deal. Now, before I dive into all of that good stuff, if you could hit that like button, hit that subscribe button to my channel, The Hook Cam, that would mean the absolute world to me. If you enjoyed this video, if you can go and share this bad boy, that would mean even more. Also, check out Jackson Kruger Sports, phenomenal human being, putting out content left and right. The dude does a great job. And if you're probably subscribed to me, you know about Jackson as well. I talk about him in basically every video. Last person I got to plug is my boy Max Keys, does all my background music. If anybody's looking for some background music, go ahead and check him out. His information will be in the description below. Okay, diving into this Cam Newton deal. Like I said, heavily incentivized deal. 1 year, $6 million, ton of incentives. Those incentives are all going to be based around playing time, how far this team goes, stats Cam Newton puts up, obviously games started, which ties into the playing time I stated earlier. So all in all, I don't really look at the price tag on this and say 14 mil. Very slim chance that it actually gets to that much. And if it does get to that much, you're stoked because he had a good year. Patriots went deeper than expected, and you're paying a good quarterback. So what does that mean for this football team? Why bring back Cam Newton? First things first, when I look at New England and you look at this free agent market, there really aren't a lot of guys who move the needle, so to say. There aren't a lot of guys who I look at and go, oh, you can plug and place that guy in New England and he's going to be a stud. So when you say that, then you look at your other options, right? Okay, we have Jarrett Stidham under contract. You have Cam Newton, who was just there for the year. Who are you going to go with? Stidham, you know, as much as I want to make the case that he hasn't had the chance, in the times that he has been able to play, he hasn't wowed me with anything, and I would imagine the coaching staff feels the same way. No shade to him. It's entirely possible that, you know, maybe he does get a chance this year and he becomes a legit NFL starter. I don't know. But judging off of what we've seen so far, nothing that really makes you say, yes, this is the next guy in New England. So when you look at the free agent options, right, obviously you have the Ryan Fitzpatricks, but, you know, after that, there really isn't a whole lot. Everybody that I've heard rumored for New England, Marcus Mariota, Deshaun Watson, Jimmy Garoppolo, all of those guys you have to trade for. And if there's one thing Belichick isn't willing to just hand out right now, it's draft picks, unless he knows he's getting a legit football player, like the Trent Brown's trade that we saw earlier this week. He knows Trent Brown. Trent Brown knows that system. It makes sense to go and make a move for Trent Brown. No matter how heavy he came into camp, he still looks good on film. So with all of that being said, you can kind of cross off the free agency quarterback replacement. It makes sense to bring back a guy who knows the system. It makes sense to bring back Cam Newton, especially on a cheaper deal like we just saw. So what does that mean for New England going forward? I don't think this means that they won't draft a quarterback. I really still think that New England Patriots are going to be looking to draft a quarterback. Judging by the talent of this quarterback class, probably early. Now, if New England goes and re-signs Cam Newton and then they draft, you know, a Q at 15 overall, that's who they believe in. That's who their guy is. From what I've seen and heard, they are doing an incredible job scouting these dudes. They've been heavily scouting the top 5 quarterbacks in this year's draft. Mac Jones makes a lot of sense to me. I think that he fits a lot of what New England likes to do. He's also a lot better than people think. Got a video coming out on that. But what am I trying to say here? You have Cam Newton. You have a guy like Mac Jones or whoever they draft as a rookie to sit and learn behind Cam Newton, right? Learn this system. Let Cam go. Show Cam show that rookie what Cam's doing, what he's doing wrong, what he's doing right, and how that rookie can improve on that situation. Like I said, I could see Mac Jones being there. I obviously don't know for sure. Now, what does that mean for this team for this year? For this year, it means that this team needs to go and find a receiver. I am all about making excuses for Cam Newton, right? To some extent. At some point, it's going to be on him, and you could really see in that Broncos game, you know, where his deficiencies were as a quarterback. However, we look at this game like the game he had in Seattle, and he played very well in this game in Seattle. I mean, he's doing a good job picking his one-on-ones on the outside like we saw there. He's doing a good job, you know, putting balls in tough spots to catch it like we saw with Edelman a couple clips ago. He catches one over on the left sideline. Beautiful ball from Cam Newton. There's a lot that this guy can do, and he looked really good early in the season. However, he hit a point where he wasn't reading a defense very well. He wasn't throwing hot. He couldn't throw a ball to the flat to save his life. It was a tough go for him for a little bit. I think that a lot of that could be the system because, guys at the point that they get into the NFL, all of those guys are insanely talented, which means that if they're not doing well, chances are it's because of their upstairs. They're looking at a defense. They're not 100% sure what the hot route is. They're not 100% sure where they got to throw pre-snap, and that's going to be a killer for you. So I think that another year in this system with Cam Newton is going to help tremendously. I think it's going to help with how he reads pre-snap, which is obviously a huge part of New England's defense, being able to read a huge part of New England's offense is being able to read that defense pre-snap. Here's our hot route. We got to throw off of him. Now, the other thing, like I just said, that re-signing Cam Newton means that you need to go find receivers. That is New England's top priority this year, I believe. It is finding skill talent in this draft, right? Skill position talent in this draft or in free agency. There are options in free agency, absolutely. Kenny Golladay obviously is the number one wide receiver target this year. He's an absolute stud. I think that you could fit him in New England. He could fit in anywhere, though. Whoever signs him, they're going to make an offense that complements him. There's a couple other receivers out there who I think could contribute. Will Fuller's name's kind of been thrown around there, but there are options out there for the New England Patriots, but you have to go get talent. You cannot just have Cam Newton with Julian Edelman, N'Keal Harry, and Jacoby Myers and expect to go put together a good football team. You need to go find talent. You need to draft a receiver at 15 overall, in my opinion. I would understand if they drafted a quarterback, but I would like a lot better if they went and got a receiver, right? If you have Cam Newton back there, you need to give this dude a chance. You need to go and pick up a Jalen Waddle. You need to go and pick up a Devontae Smith or a Jamar Chase, whoever's available at that point. Obviously, those three guys could go top 5 in the draft. Who knows? But as the New England Patriots, you have to go and get this dude talent. You can't have 2 undrafted quarterbacks being your top targets on the team for that year. Also, I don't think it would hurt to go and get a tight end either. I know they just spent 2 draft picks on tight ends last year. Spend another one this year. I think that there's a lot of talent at the tight end position this year, especially in that second or third round. I don't know if they would draft a tight end that early. The last dude they did was this guy named Rob Gronkowski. Not sure if you've ever heard of him, but that is where I think the talent lies in this draft as far as tight ends go. So I could see them going skill in terms of receiver and tight end early. The other thing that I think the New England Patriots have to do is you got to re-sign David Andrews. He is the cornerstone of that offensive line, and I think that he answers a lot of questions coming back. Because you look at it right now, Trent Brown's coming back, might play left or right tackle depending on Marcus Cannon's situation. You have Michael Onwenu, who's been an absolute stud. He was a stud rookie last year for the Patriots. Joe Thuney's probably taken off. Shaq Mason's back. They have a decent offensive line, absolutely, and that's not really the question. But you need to go and get skill at the outsides. That is where you win and lose football games right now in New England. We saw that time and time again because there really isn't a whole lot of respect for any other receiver on the New England Patriots besides Julian Edelman. Everybody else, they're going to man up one-on-one and they know they're going to win. So as long as they bracket Julian Edelman, then all is said and done. The other thing I believe the New England Patriots need to do with Cam Newton is you need to utilize him in the rushing game. There were games where he was non-existent running the football. That can't happen with a guy like Cam Newton. His best games running the football were Miami, Seattle, and Vegas. Those were just 3 examples. Those weren't his best games. But in games where he ran the ball over 8 times, New England had a much better chance to win that football game. Cam Newton is not the guy who's going to sit back there, throw the football 50 times, and be able to piece together a win. That's just, it's not to that guy's skill set. His skill set is being able to run the football in certain situations, 3rd and short, let him go, right? Goal line situations, let him go. They had a great goal line package early in the year last year, and they just kind of let that slip away. So, again, I don't mind the Cam Newton signing, but it comes with some stipulations. You need to be able to run the football more with Cam Newton. You need to go get a wide receiver, and you need to, hopefully, right, Cam Newton needs to be able to see this defense, read it, where am I going pre-snap if I get pressure. And that was kind of the biggest deficiencies I saw in his game last year. I think that he's a great person, first and foremost. He seems like a really, really fun dude to be around, always smiling. He's an outstanding football player as well. I think that last year was a little bit of an anomaly. I mean, new system, weird season with COVID. There's a lot of variables that went into last year, which is probably, a good arguing point for trying to re-sign him. Give me a year in a regular football season and see what I can do, especially with a year under my belt in this offense. So those are kind of my final thoughts on the Patriots. The other thing is this receiving core, as bad as it was, when you look at their dropped passes from last year, they only dropped 13 balls. That was near the bottom in terms of like the Cowboys, who dropped 30. So as bad as they were, I think that a lot of times, you know, there were not great placement of footballs from Cam Newton, and I'm putting that lightly. But if you brought pressure on Cam Newton, you saw that it messed with him. And I don't think that that's because he can't get the football there. I think that it's because he wasn't in a system for very long. He was unsure of where his hot was, and where he needed to go if he was getting pressure. So overall, I'm kind of neutral on this thing. I think that it could be really good, could be really bad. You could be in the exact same position you are next year. Like I said, ultimately, you got to go get athletes. You got to go get talent at the skill positions. Wouldn't be surprised to see the Patriots draft a quarterback early as well, but that wouldn't be my first option if I'm trying to build around Cam Newton. You got to go get receivers. You got to go get talent. I could see them trying to rebuild through free agency with receivers, maybe drafting one second, third, along with a tight end, and then taking a quarterback at that 15th overall pick. So anyway, guys, that's my opinion on Cam Newton coming back to the New England Patriots. I love Cam Newton. I'm excited to have him back in New England. It's going to be fun to watch for sure. However, that could that excitement could quickly fade if he starts throwing balls into the ground whenever he sees pressure. I don't think that'll happen, though. I think that he's going to get not necessarily get in the playbook by saying he wasn't in there previously, but I think he's just going to be more comfortable with this system and have a more successful year this year. So anyway, guys, that's all I got for you today. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, if you could hit that like button, hit that subscribe button to my channel, The Hook Cam, as well as the Jackson Kruger Sports. That's all I got for you guys today, man. Football's starting to heat up again, so you'll be seeing some more content, more film breakdowns for the draft, all that good stuff. So be on the lookout for that. That's all I got for you guys today. Stay safe, wash those hands, and I'll see you next time.